please. So Ewere is going to be talking about AWS Cloudformation Modules. Ewere, please go ahead and introduce yourself and then dive in. Thank you.
All right. Thanks, Sam. Hi, my name is Ewere. Like you already said, AWS said I'm a community hero. Yeah, that's what they said. So, so I accepted it. Accepted responsibility in good faith. All right. So hopefully Veliswa will back up in no time. But I mean, before she comes, let's get our hands a little bit dirty. But before then, let's talk about what I want to talk about, which is CloudFormation Modules. So personally, among all the features that Veliswa will talk about, I hope she talks about this, because for me, this is my most exciting feature. Doesn't talk about it, I'm going to change her slide. So yeah, I'm going to personally edit her slide from here. I don't know how I'm going to do it, but I'm just going to do it. So tell her to get ready. I'm hacking her system very soon. All right, so yeah, one of the most exciting features for me, because I think it was a bit delayed, but good enough it's out. So this is going to be a very short presentation, because we'll have a little demonstration on what this does and some explanations of the value it brings to the table. So my name is Ewere Diagboya. Like they said, I'm AWS Community Hero, and that's me on Twitter, and that's me on LinkedIn. I also blog on Medium actively. I'm also very active on LinkedIn. I mean, you can buzz me at any time, talk about AWS, and I'm always available and excited to talk about AWS. Okay, that's enough about me. Let's get straight to the point. So before we start talking about CloudFormation Modules, let's even talk about what CloudFormation is, okay? So these are the contents we'll be talking about. The first we'll introduce CloudFormation, and then we'll talk about the importance of infrastructure as code and CloudFormation. We'll talk about CloudFormation Modules, PS and CloudFormation Modules, things you need to take note of if you want to use CloudFormation Modules, and a very short demonstration to show us CloudFormation Modules. All right, so what CloudFormation? If you're hearing this for the first time, this is going to be very helpful. Okay, so CloudFormation is an infrastructure as code tool and service by AWS, which makes it possible to codify your infrastructure using declarative scripting. A lot of English. Basically, instead of using the console to create, edit, and delete your AWS cloud resources, CloudFormation makes it easier and more automated. Now, how is that possible? So when you're getting to AWS for the first time, you are used to, or you are accustomed to using your console to create resources. When I mean the console, I'm talking about the graphical user interface, okay? The one you get into your browser when you type aws.amazon.com, okay? Where you click on launch instance, you configure your instance. Now, the problem with that configuration is that, I mean, when you're handling 1, 2 EC2 instances, it's pretty fine. 5 is pretty fine, but I mean, when you start growing larger than that and your organization is doing a lot of work, okay, you might not be able to scale larger and manage the system properly. What you see is that you see a lot of issues where instances are forgotten. I'm sure a lot of us who use AWS are used to that. You launch an instance 3 months ago and you forgot it was running there, and you just forgot about it for some reason. Maybe you got too busy, and then for you to shut it down becomes a problem. You don't know what is connected to, you don't know what addresses is being used. And that's one of the problems that CloudFormation helps you to solve. I mean, if you have it as a CloudFormation template, all you need to do is to delete that CloudFormation, and everything that is tied to that instance automatically goes away. And not just for EC2 instance, it applies to every other AWS service. So that's what I meant by CloudFormation codifies your infrastructure. It puts it in form of code, okay? And this code and these script languages are either JSON or YAML. And that's one of the things I love about CloudFormation a lot. You don't need to learn anything new, okay? If you know JSON before, you can just jump to CloudFormation almost immediately and start scripting. Unlike if you want to do other things, okay, other IAC services, you might need to learn the syntax of the language. You might need to understand the syntax of the language. So this is basically what CloudFormation is. So let's look at why you want to implement CloudFormation at all. This is a long list, but I'll just take about like 2 or 3. So the first one is it reduces errors in lifecycle management of cloud resources. What do we mean by that? This basically means that when you want to manage the life cycle of your resources, you want to make sure that you are in charge of the process. You are in charge of the life cycle. So from the creation to the making changes to the deletion of the process, you want to make sure that you are in charge of that life cycle. And CloudFormation helps to reduce errors. So for example, if you configure a resource wrongly and you want to fix that problem, I mean, if, for example, you launch an EC2 instance and you're supposed to do a T3 large and you did a T2 small, the normal process is to go back to your console, stop that instance, upgrade it, start it back. I mean, AWS had made that simple, but back in the days, you would have to terminate that instance and launch a fresh one, but these are all manual operations, which you can change as a single line of code in your CloudFormation template, and everything happens automatically. That's what we mean by reducing errors in managing your life cycle. So you can look at the code, ensure that it works fine before you implement it. The other value of using CloudFormation is that it helps to enforce governance in resource management lifecycle with inclusion of the Git flow. So you see in organizations where there is actually no proper governance in how resources are being created, how they are being deleted, when resources are needed, because someone has access to the AWS root account. And what happens at the end of the month is, yay, beautiful bills arise, because there's no proper structure on how these things are managed. Now, CloudFormation is just like I said, you can either write it in JSON or in YAML. So you can push it to a Git repository and have a Git flow that manages what needs to be deployed. So if you need to create any resource, you can have a senior engineer or a higher level official in the company to look at the resources that you need to create, and you need to get approval on that before you can eventually create that particular resource. So with that, we reduce the issues of anyone being able to create any resource, and then implementing that every single resource must be created via CloudFormation. No console access, no one should have access to the console. And lastly is to automate infrastructure provisioning by integrating CI/CD tools. So when that CloudFormation template has been approved by the senior engineer or whoever is in charge of the infrastructure, who is in charge of governance, you can automatically trigger a service that can do that deployment for you without any manual process. And that's where the CI/CD tools come in. So Code Pipeline and Code Deploy are there for you to implement, to integrate with CloudFormation to ensure that the process of setting up those resources are fully automated by those services working with CloudFormation. Okay, now we know what CloudFormation is. We know why CloudFormation is important. The other ones here, it helps to easy reuse of setup, resource, and configuration, improve system recovery time, and all that. So let's now look at what CloudFormation Modules is and why it's even important. Why are we yelling that this is so cool, it's so important? So CloudFormation Modules helps to break down huge CloudFormation templates into smaller, reusable, sorry, that was supposed to be reusable, sorry, not reusable, reusable blocks of code called modules, okay? So what this means is some companies have been using CloudFormation since its inception. So just imagine the kind of CloudFormation templates you're going to have. We're talking about 500, 1,000, 4,000, 5,000 lines of code. And CloudFormation has a limitation, okay? So you really cannot have all the templates in a single file. You will need to stack it, what we call a nested stack in CloudFormation. We might not be able to go deep into that, but CloudFormation has a limit for a particular template. So you can write so much code in a template, but you have to now create another template that receives information for the previous template to continue the provisioning process. So it can be pretty complex. But what Modules is saying is that instead of writing everything in a single big script or single multiple scripts, you can break down that script into 5 modules, okay? Register these 5 modules with CloudFormation and then call them within one script. Let me go over that again. Instead of having a big chunk of code where you have so many codes, okay, 500 lines of code, 700 lines of code, you could take 200 lines of code and write a module. Now that module is going to more or less compress everything into a single line that you can call. Okay, so if you are rewriting your template, you don't need to make it 700 lines anymore. It could be just 8 lines or 9 lines. Why? Because that code, you have written it and registered it into CloudFormation registry. Okay, it's just like a Git repository or any kind of repository like a Docker repository, but CloudFormation has a repository. So when you write it, you register it with CloudFormation registry, and then you can call it within your code when you need it to use it. So with that, your code becomes smaller. You can use one module multiple times for multiple scenarios without having to rewrite that module all over again. Now, modules can help in reducing the time to write CloudFormation templates by calling existing curated modules. This is what I exactly said. So instead of having 500 lines of code, you could break it down into 100 lines, and these 100 lines are modules that you register with CloudFormation. So when you want to write your eventual CloudFormation template, it's no longer 500 lines. It's now, just imagine 5 lines, okay? We've divided the 500 lines into 100 chunks. Register each 100 chunk with CloudFormation, and when we need to call it, we don't need to write 100 lines anymore. We just need to write one single line that calls that module, then we can use it. And then this can be very helpful in environments where compliance and standard operations are important. So there are certain organizations, okay, when you talk about the financial sector, you talk about government, where security and compliance is taken very seriously. And you don't want anyone to write certain kind of resource provisioning if the person is not very experienced. So with CloudFormation modules, you can actually create certain modules for certain scenarios. For example, there is a security level you want every single server in your environment to have. Okay, now that kind of configuration file cannot be written by anyone in the organization. Most likely by very experienced engineers, very experienced solutions architects who know the standards that are needed for that to work. So they can write those modules, and then if any other DevOps engineer or any cloud engineer needs those modules, they just call the modules that have been created. So they don't have to rewrite everything all over again. What that does is, one, it ensures that it ensures that they comply to the standard of the organization. 2, it saves the engineers time of having to write everything from scratch, you know? So whenever anything is being deployed, the architects, the engineers, the CTOs, they are sure that it is based on the standards that have been agreed upon, have been vetted, and it is actually in more or less the well-architected form, okay? The proper standards, the secured form, the scalable form, which makes a lot of things much easier, okay? Because without modules, you have to rewrite these things over and over again. That's 1. 2, without modules, they become a very large piece of code that becomes harder to manage and maintain over time. But when there are modules and you register them with CloudFormation registry, you don't need to write them again, okay? You can make changes, but when you need them, you just call them in another template in a shorter, simpler, and direct format. Okay. We've talked about the values of CloudFormation modules, but there are some things we need to take note of when we want to use CloudFormation modules. So that's why I said PS on CloudFormation modules. So there are a couple of things we need to know. The first thing is they are regional, and you can't use them across regions. So if, for example, you created a module in North Virginia, you can't use it in Ireland. If you created a module in Tokyo, you cannot use it in let's say Singapore, okay? So you need to take note of that. The modules are regionalized. It is in the region you created the module that you can use that module. If you want that module in another region, you have to recreate that module in another region. Now, at the moment, module building is only on JSON, okay? But YAML and JSON can be used to call the module. So the CloudFormation module is also a CloudFormation code, okay? But registered to the registry. So for you to write the module, the only language that is allowed at the moment is JSON. So you cannot write it in YAML. But if you want to call the module, you can call it with JSON or YAML. It doesn't matter, which are the standard languages of CloudFormation by default. So let's take note of that. Lastly, modules are privately hosted. They can't be used out of AWS. That's another typo, sorry about that. So what it means is that if you create a module, you need to be in that same account, that region. You might not be able to use it outside of that environment, okay? You cannot use it on the general public until you import a module and it's going to work. No, it's not going to work. If it's not in that environment, it's not in that account, it's not in that region, it will not work. So these are a couple of things we need to put at the back of our mind when using CloudFormation modules, so that we don't try it for something that it's not designed for and it might not give us the desired results that we are looking for. All right, so that's all for now. So let's go straight into the demo session. If we have any questions, we can quickly ask while I reshare my screen for the demo session. Thank you. Okay, can we confirm that my screen is visible, please?
I can see your screen, yes.
Right. Okay. Sorry, reInvent was quite exciting. So there's something else Veliswa needs to talk about again, which is Cloud Shell. Yeah, this is another new feature that was launched in reInvent last year, and it really makes it really easier to run command line. Yeah, makes it easier to run CLI commands on AWS, which people like us, we used to launch EC2 instance to run very busy commands. So this is a game changer for us. Okay, so we're going to go through the steps of creating a module. We'll create a module, and then we'll see how the module is registered and submitted to your registry and how you can use it in the code. So, like I said, the modules are only supported in JSON, but you can call them in YAML, which is what I will exactly demonstrate and show to us. All right. All right. So the first thing here is to update the Python version. So for this to work, please take note, you need to update the Python version of your command line. Sorry, mine is already updated, but I'll quickly share the command for that. I'll quickly share the command for that so that we can get that out of the way. I don't want whoever is trying this out to have a challenge. So I just shared the command. Sorry.
So, August making none of it begin the enter school again.
Mine is already upgraded, so yeah, you might not have that challenge, but you might have that challenge. So if you just run the command I shared in the CLI in the chat, it will help you to upgrade your Python version of your Go. Okay, so the first step for us is to create a directory where the module will stay. Okay, so I'm going to create a very simple directory. I'm going to call this, let me zoom this screen so it's a bit more visible. I'm sure this is more visible now. Okay, so I'm going to create a directory. I'm going to call it AWS Nigeria User Group Module. Okay, so we have a folder created. I'm going to create the module within this directory. So to do that, I'm going to use the CloudFormation helper command, which is CFN command, okay? So with that, I will initialize the module. Okay, I think it is not updated. That's why this error is coming up. Yeah, so mine is not also updated. So let's quickly update that. Yeah, I updated it a few minutes ago, but because the shell restarted, so when the shell restarts, it kind of removes all the configurations you had before. So that's why I'm doing this all over again. So let's give it a few minutes to update. All right, that's done. Okay, now we can run the helper command. So I'm happy it actually was not updated, so we can see that without the update, the helper command doesn't work. So you need to update the Python version for the helper command to work appropriately. It's actually there, but you need to update it for it to work appropriately. So when I updated it, now it's running well. So when I do the cfn init command, the first thing it asks us is, do you want to develop a resource or a module? We're actually developing a resource at this time. We're developing a module. So we're going to use M. It's going to ask us, what's the name of your module? Okay, so if you've used CloudFormation before, if you see the pattern at which it's asking for the name, we should name this module. It looks a lot like the way you name resources. Okay, you have AWS S3 buckets. Okay, you have AWS Kinesis service. You know, it has that same pattern, but this time the pattern here is your organization name, the service name, the name of the resource in that service, and then module. So I'm going to use a very simple name. Please take note, organization name can be any name, okay? The reason AWS is putting organization here is that you should use the name of your company, so it's easy to locate, to navigate, to know what organization you are working from. So that's the idea. So for this sample, I'll use ANUG, AWS Nigeria User Group. The service I'm going to work with for this sample is S3. The module is a bucket and module. Okay, based on the format we have up there, module must be at the end with capital letters. Please take note of the casing. Your casing is very important. If the casing is not right, it's going to reject it. So when I'm done with that, I hit the enter key, and it tells us the directory has been created and it has initialized a new project. Now, when I do an ls in this, you're going to find a folder has been created and a file. So the arrow pdk.log file is for logging every module operation. So when we register a module, when a module fails, anything that happens to that module is actually stored in the logs. While the fragments folder contains the file we are using for our module configuration. The fragments folder contains the file we want to use for our module configuration. So we'll quickly jump into the fragments directory. Okay, so good enough, we have a sample file. We'll be working with the sample file, but please take note, this is just a sample, okay? You could write your own module, for different services. This example is going to be basically on S3. So let's jump into the file. I'll be using the text editor Vim to edit the file, and we'll move on from there. So I'll open the file. So this is a very simple CloudFormation template written in JSON. Like we said, the modules must be in JSON, okay? And I'll make a couple of changes and try and create the module after that. So I just want to remove the deletion policy. So what this code is supposed to do is to basically create a bucket for us that has versioning enabled, okay? That has versioning enabled, and we have a parameter that we can use to specify the bucket name. So the bucket name is not static, it's dynamic because it's based on the parameters that we pass to it. And the parameter name is also bucket name. So that's the only change we're making to the file. So I'm going to save the file and go back to my terminal to create the module. So I'll save this. Okay, that has been saved. Before I go on, I want to make sure that this file name makes a lot of sense. So I'm going to rename it because the module I just made some changes to is supposed to be an S3 kind of module. So I want to make this file make more sense. So I'm going to change the name from sample.json to s3.json. Like I said, we are doing this for S3 as an example. Okay, it could be for EC2, it could be for Kinesis, it could be for Lambda function, it could be for API gateway, it could be for Redshift, it could be for any other service that you want to use it for. So I'll rename this file quickly. Okay, now the file has been renamed. So the last stage for us is to now submit our proposed module to CloudFormation registry. We're not going to do it from here because this is not where we initialized the module. So all right, sorry, I had some connection issues. Okay, so I was talking about going a step back, and I actually went a step back. So this is where we're going to submit the module to the CloudFormation registry. And to do that, we use the same CloudFormation helper, but this time we're going to do a submit operation. Okay, sorry. Yeah, I'm actually in the wrong directory. So I should get into the place where the module exists. Yeah, that's the error it was telling me. Project file not found. So we're actually in the right place now. So if I do the CFN submit, you should start submitting it. Yeah, said module fragment is valid, successfully submitted, type, waiting for registration token. So this is going to take a while. I think this is an opportunity for us to ask any questions, and before it gets submitted, it takes about 8 minutes or 7 minutes. When it's submitted, it's going to come back with some results, like the module name and some other information, some other information about the module that has just been submitted. Thank you. All right, I think that took faster than I thought. Okay, yeah, it actually is back and it's done. Okay, so if you look very well at the response that comes back, it's a JSON response, and there's a lot of information here. I'll just pick out a few of them. The first thing it's saying is that the progress was complete, the status was complete, and the description is that deployment is currently deploy stage or status completed, and it generated an ARN for it. Okay. And it gave us the version. So that's something else that you can also do. I didn't mention. You can do versioning right here in CloudFormation modules. Okay, you can have different versions of your modules and use them appropriately. And yeah, the status code is 200, and boom. So everything is working fine. So let's look at how we could actually use this in a very simple example code. So so for us to use this, we can create a simple file. Let's assume we want to use the module in a YAML file. How do we call our modules? So this pretty much is sample code. So the type here will become the type of the module name we created. Can we remember the module name? Let's flip back. We don't have it here anymore. Okay. No, it's not here. Okay, I think we did.
Is it based on like organization and then the service and then?
Yeah. So we did organization. We did this.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. So, and then we also had a property because we had a parameter. So, so we could call it bucket name, call it MUG bucket. Yeah. So this is a YAML code that is going to reference our module and actually run the command that will call the module to create the bucket. All right. That's all, guys. Thank you very much. Do we have any questions?
Hi, we're.
Hey, what were you trying to do right now? You were trying to pull it from YAML code, but what were you trying to do next?
I was just showing us how you can reference what was created. Do you understand? So this is the model we created, and that's how we are going to reference it. So if you run this template, it's going to run the module, and what the module is doing is creating a bucket with a particular parameter name. So a real life use case could be that bucket will have things like versioning, things like MFA validation, things like blocking public access, websites, a lot of configurations that you don't want to write all the time. Okay. So if you want to create that kind of resource, you create that module, register it with CloudFormation Registry, and write just an 8-line or 9-line code like this, and reference the module because this is what you registered in registry, and run this command to create the resource. So that's exactly what I was trying to show us.
I think Odera.
What do you, Sam?
Yes, I think there is a question that came from Odera Okonko, and I think he was just probably trying to ask you to clarify if you meant that CloudFormations cannot be used across different AWS accounts, or did you mean CloudFormation modules specifically? I think that was.
I specifically said CloudFormation modules cannot be used across different regions. That's what I said. Not CloudFormation can be used across different accounts. I'm talking about the modules. I think it's something that is still, at the moment, but with time, before the year runs out, I'm sure that will actually be sorted out. So we can find a way of, using modules across regions.
Another question comes in asking, is there a way to test CloudFormation modules in a CI/CD process, like use unit tests, like similar to unit tests in software development? Unit or integration tests?
So at the moment, I think the best you can do is to actually ensure that the YAML for your file is actually top notch. So there are many ways you can do that. You can use your YAML linked in. You can use, there are also other libraries for checking your CloudFormation for secrets, for credentials, for conformity, and before you can actually register it as a module. So, but like a proper framework for the module at the moment, no. But what you can do is, so long as your CloudFormation YAML file within the module is fine, then everything should be fine.
Yeah, perfect. There's also a question about versioning. When you change your JSON file, which is, I believe, the module, does it overwrite the old file? Is there some type of versioning going on? And how does that
work? Yes. Like I showed us now, within the JSON response that we got, there is versioning on it. So you will need to update the, should I call it the master template, okay? Not the module template. You need to update the master template to catch the latest updates, okay? In form of a redeployment or something of sort. But if you make any changes, it's not going to directly come into the template that you worked on because there's a version. So when you deploy, a new version is created. When I showed us the response, it was showing us 00001. Okay, if we deploy again, it's going to give us 00002, which is the next version of that particular module.
Okay. So it's possible to pull up the 0001 instead of if you had a mistake in 0002, right?
Exactly.
Thank you.
There's also a question asking, could you test in a staging environment before deploying to production?
Yes, so long as your staging environment is within AWS, I mean, why not? Because like I said, CloudFormation is within the region. So if it is not in that region and not in AWS, then you might not be able to test it out, actually. So, but if it's within the same region, I mean, that's why the naming of the modules is also key, okay? So the naming can also help you in terms of environments, in terms of the structure of what the file should look like and all that. So the naming of the modules can also help in terms of environment separation, okay? Staging for this, production for this. So yes, you can test, so long as everything is within the region in AWS, same region.
So a module can contain more than one resource, right?
Yes, a module can contain more than one resource, yes.
So does using modules help you bypass like the AWS limits when it comes to like per template limits?
Yeah, that was the first thing I said. I said that modules are a better way of managing limits instead of writing, because the way it's done now, stack sets are used for that, okay? Where you write a stack, nested stacks are used for that. So where you write a stack, when it's filled up, you have to, move the outputs into another stack. Okay, thanks, Matt. Matt is adding us something here. So Matt is talking about CDK. So Matt is talking about CDK. So CDK is actually another good tool that helps you to do IAC too in your native programming language. Thanks, Matt, for that.
Yeah, thank you, Matt.
Yeah.
Are there any other questions? Okay, there's a question from Dimeji asking, can you use CloudFormation to create the modules?
At the moment, I don't think so. At the moment, I don't think so. So it's more or less you're using CloudFormation to create the modules for a CloudFormation template. At the moment, no. I don't think so.
Yeah, I think that was a very exciting session. Thank you very, very much, Ewere.
Thank you very much.
Guys, there's a poll that has been sent out. So if you see the poll come up on your screen, please go ahead and answer the questions. We'd love to get this feedback so that we can use it to better, tailor more sessions for everybody. Okay, there's actually a question that came in, is asking, what happens when the CloudFormation resource deployment is not successful? This area, could you please touch on this briefly, and then we'll move on to the next session.
Okay, sorry. Sorry, I didn't get that question well.
Sure. The question is, what happens when the CloudFormation resource deployment is not successful?
Resource deployment. I wish the person could ask it well, because the question is not very clear.
I guess he's asking if some resources will be created and like others would not be deployed. Is there going to be like rollback? If like
those are normal default CloudFormation behavior. I mean, if you try to deploy a stack of resources, if there's a problem anywhere within the process, it breaks, and you can see the rollback operation will start working to delete what has been created partially. It doesn't really disturb anything with the modules, because if there's an issue, it's going to reflect there in CloudFormation, and it's going to show you what the issue was and what exactly happened, and perform a rollback automatically. Then it's left for you to actually delete that particular stack that you created.
Adeshola has a question asking, how can I apply CloudFormation to SageMaker?
Well, SageMaker has grown a lot. I mean, for the past couple of years. I mean, when I started using SageMaker, it was just a single service, but now multiple services. So, additionally, for you to enjoy CloudFormation a lot, if you are doing your pipelines in SageMaker pipelines, which is one of the new features that was released in SageMaker and in reInvent too, it's going to be very beneficial to work with things like CloudFormation for that, because you have the parts where you are writing your code to push, to train your model, to deploy, to test, to revert, and you need to manage the life cycle of that particular process. So CloudFormation is going to be very helpful in that kind of end-to-end process.
Got it. That will be the last question before we move on to the next session. So thank you very much, Ewere. As always, we appreciate your.
All right, thank you, Sam. Thanks, everyone.
No problem. Okay, so it's time for the raffle. So we are going to be sharing, we're going to be distributing a link. Wale is going to be posting a link into the chat. This is a Google form that contains questions. So the questions are based on both presentations that we just had. Feel free to answer the questions and submit the questions. We'll be looking through the answers, and the first two answers, the first two people that are able to get the correct answers will be getting free AWS credits, and would also be given a free Cloud Guru subscription, a free 1-year Cloud Guru subscription. So, Wale, can you please post the link to the form? Mats, you're not allowed to answer any questions.
Am I allowed to answer?
Ewere is also prevented. So is Veliswa. Awali already posted the forms, so please feel free to click on it. There's some questions about your email address, and name, so we can contact you. I will leave this going while we make other announcements. We have recently created a new Telegram group. We kind of hit the limit for the WhatsApp group that we have. The Telegram group is growing constantly. So you can join the Telegram group at this link, pixel.me/anug-tele. And also the LinkedIn group that Veliswa just mentioned, it's also on there. There's a link where you can easily connect to that group at pixel.me/anug-link. The videos from this recap will be uploaded on YouTube, so watch out for that. We'll definitely be sending announcements out to all the channels so people can connect. Akeem is going to be talking in the next slide about sponsorships and updates we've made on the community. Please stay tuned. Akeem. Okay, actually before that, just to introduce the organizers. Akeem, Olu are, these are just all the organizers for AWS Nigeria user group community. Akeem Olu, myself, Sam Shobowale, Wale Adeniji, Ewere Diagboya, Adewoyin Foluke, and Ismail Haruna. We are all, constantly working together and trying to bring value to the community and all the members. So please feel free to reach out to any of us through any of the channels. You can find us on the Telegram group, on the WhatsApp groups, on meetup.com. You can also send us an email at the organizer's email, which is aws@cdg.org.ng, and you would get responses from one of us. Akim, please talk walk us through the updates on the community.
All right, thank you, Sam. Thank you very much to presenters. This is very good information, and I hope that most of us, I'm already learning a lot already. So thank you, Veliswa. Thank you, Ewere. All right, so I just wanted to keep us updated with the community, and I think it's very important for us to see how far we've been and what are some of the things that we can benefit as a community. So let me just share my screen. I'll take it away. All right, can you guys see my screen? Sam, you can see my screen, right?
Yeah, we can see your screen.
Yeah. All right. So I just wanted to announce that AWS is, finally supporting the community. So meaning that we have some free credit that we can distribute among the community. So if anybody wanted to learn AWS in the lab or in any environment, so we have AWS Free Credit, and it is limited offer, but we will try our best. If you really need the credit, you can also contact us. So we're going to be doing it through Raffles, but if you really need the AWS credit, you can reach out to us. You can, tell us how, what you're going to use it for, and then we'll give you the credits. So, but it is limited offer for now. So, and also we're going to be giving free Cloud Guru subscription, limited offer, but there is a couple of subscriptions we can give out. There is swag, like stickers, notepad, and all that stuff. So unfortunately, we all due to the COVID, so there's no like a physical meetup. So, but we will find a way to to get the swag to people, or maybe during the physical meetup. But but we have the swag. Also, there is freebie that I also wanted to go through for us as a community, so everybody knows about this information and how you can benefit from it. So so this link will be shared to everyone soon. It will be shared, so I will send the link to everyone. I will post it in the room. So the information is limited for this community itself. It's only for the members only. So some of the freebies that I also mentioned is, so we got AWS swag, free credit in forms of $25 and $250. So the $25 is probably for if you have a small project, but if you have some big project, you can use the $250. But if you're a company, a startup company, that you wanted to leverage AWS, or reach out to us, we can get you more credit. We just have to link you up to the right person. And then free Cloud Guru subscription from AWS. It's a limited offer, but we will give it to the right people who need it. And also some of their current sponsors, Acola Tech, and I just wanted to go to My Cloud series. This is a free AWS training from My Cloud series. I want everybody to, if you wanted to sign up, there's a free free training. And Ewere Diagboya, which is one of our presenters, he's the trainer. So you guys will probably learn a lot. So this is the website for you to join. Also, Cloud Guru. I'm also happy to announce Cloud Guru is giving out a free members certificate prep guide specifically to this member. So you guys can join and sign up. It is free. It's $49 value, but it is free from this community. So, and also MSP Cloudberry. So if you wanted to back up your computers, your server, or files, there is a free backup software that you can use. It is free, the license. So this is the code that you can use if you're signing up. So this information will be shared. So this allows you to back up your files into the cloud. And also WizLab, we also happy, is giving out 70% discounts on the Wiz Lab training, and also the labs, and also this is the exam prep. So this is the discount coupon. So this will also be shared. This link will be shared. I mean, this document will be shared. So we are still looking for sponsorship. So if anybody wanted to join your company, please let us know. Send us email, or we will reach out to you. And also we are looking for for female participation. So we want more female to join the community group. And so, if you know anyone, please invite them to this community. Also, the ANOG website is coming up. We will have a website. So if anybody want to volunteer to help build the website, please let us know. And what skills do you want to help? Ismail will be the leading this, one of the organizers. So please reach out to us, and we can get you up to work on the website. So the website will probably be our blog, that we will be published as a community, so everybody can see what updates. And if you have anything you wanted to share, you can also post it in the blog. So, all right, these are some of our sponsors that I already mentioned. So that's just about it. So I'll give it back to you, Sam. Thanks.
Yeah, nothing much to say. I'm going to announce the winners. The two winners of the AWS credits are Adishola Afolabi and Faola. We are going to receive an email immediately after this event with your free AWS credits. And anybody that has reached out to me directly as well, expressing interest in some credits, will definitely contact you. So thank you everybody for this. Just to say thank you for attending. Thank you for joining.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, guys.
Thanks,
everyone. That was great.
Thanks,
to all the
everyone.
presenters.
Thanks, everybody.
Take care, guys.
Bye.
Thanks,
Have a great
everyone.
weekend, everyone.
Bye.
Bye.
You too.
Bye.
I sent some messages.
Bye-bye.
All right.